Hello there, Ray here, and today guys we will be looking at 1.17 and some sneak peeks at what will be inside of that update. Now Mojang will officially be announcing what the 1.17 update is going to be about during the Minecraft live event, and I will be live streaming the event and discussing these changes with other technical Minecraft players as well as viewers. So make sure you guys join that stream right after watching this video, as well as our Discord voice call. Links are down below. We'll be discussing two main topics today. The first being some leaked information that the official name of the update is Caves and Cliff Update. And the second thing we'll talk about is some evidence proving that we'll get new pistons and dispensers in possibly this update or the next. So the first evidence showing that it possibly could be the Caves and Cliffs update is a stream where Connor Eats Pants, who's a Twitch streamer and YouTuber. And in the clip he's talking about how he was approached by Minecraft asking if he wanted to co-host some part of Minecraft Live, and that they told him that the update would be called Caves and Cliffs. And as soon as he says this, the chat assumes that he just leaked out some information. And when he reads the chat, he seems genuinely surprised.
I got an email from Minecraft that was like, we invite you to co-stream Minecraft Live on October 3rd. And I was like, no megalol. But they asked me to. And I might still do it. They were like, you get to preview the new Cave and Cliffs update. And I was like, I don't know what that means, but cool. Leaking NDA? Wait, is that a leak? Did they not announce that?
Now the second evidence that indicates it may be called the Cave and Cliff update are these messages from XQC during his live stream. One of the things he does mention is Caves and Cliffs. He also mentions crossplay. He also mentions Cobalt ore. But the manner in which he kind of displays this information seems like it is a joke. And maybe he just didn't want to be known for the person that leaked the information and try to pass it off more as a joke. But there is actually a lot of indication that Cliffs will be coming in the next update. Last year, the mountains won the vote, which meant we got snowier snow. We also got mountain goats, but we get a whole new type of mountains in the game. These things will be massive. Just listen to them describing them.
Mountains are getting an upgrade. Jagged cliffs, snow-capped peaks, dramatic views.
One of the things he mentioned was the Jagged Cliffs. This would fit in perfectly with the Caves and Cliffs update. He also talks about the snowy peaks because they are so high up that nothing is on them but snow, and the impressive view you'd get from way up there. We do have some examples of what the mountains might look like. Look at the shattered savannas. They can be extremely tall. Some of them can reach over wide level 200. Now imagine these guys being a nice elegant mountain with some huge cliffs on sides, tons of snow, and a gradual change in vegetation and climate as you move to the top. Now there is some indication that it will also be a cave update. Not only is this highly requested by the players of Minecraft, and over the years Mojang has been more and more connected with its players and in turn listen to what they really want. We kind of seen this in the aquatic update where a lot of people were suggesting different things to do with the ocean. Now we can also see this in the beginning of the Minecraft Live announcement trailer. Let's go ahead and watch it from the beginning. And you'll see that there is a cave where the baby zombie kind of gets lifted out of. And in this cave image here, you can kind of see this part looks very realistic. As you get closer to the top, there are these blocks. So it's very Minecrafty. And you can see all the chickens with their heads looking way down into the cave. So it's very possible that they're going to bring in more realistic caves. And later in the trailer, they said there's going to be some huge updates. There is some indication that one of these updates is going to be not only like a bunch of smaller updates, it's actually going to be itself something big, like the increased world height of the world, or maybe they even add an extension to the world underneath of the current world limit. And drastically changing the underground areas would be a very huge update. Now, if we learned anything from the mob voting announcement, we know they actually hid in quite a few secrets inside of this trailer here, including all three of the mobs which are being voted on: the glowing squid, the iceologers, and moob Bloom. But there's a lot of parts of the trailer that haven't been explained yet. So who knows, maybe we'll get access to new ores as well as minecarts get an upgrade along with the cave update. And with the mob voting, all 3 of those mobs were from other Minecraft games, Minecraft Dungeon and Minecraft Earth. So it's very possible that they'll add in more of these mobs into the Minecraft game. But since we did vote for the mountains, that is kind of a guaranteed, and they do come with the cliffs. Having some new caves inside the mountains could also fit in. Now this next one that we're going to take a look at has a lot of evidence showing that we're going to be getting new pistons and dispensers, and possibly having TNT duping nerf alongside gravity block dupers. There's a little bit of a story behind this one, but it starts back in 20W15A when they added in Blackstone as kind of an alternative way to make stone tools. But besides stone tools, you could also make furnaces, but you couldn't use Blackstone to craft dispensers or pistons, which at first just seemed like a small bug. Now shortly after this, one of the Mojang developers was trying to start in the Nether dimension and see if he could progress relatively normal there. And one of the things he wanted to do was brew some potions. And at that time I mentioned to him that there seemed to be a bug with inconsistent use of Blackstone versus cobble, and therefore brewing stands weren't able to be crafted up. And then a few versions later they were introduced being crafted with Blackstone as well. And later on they introduced materials that could be found in the Nether dimension, so you could actually do some basic brewing without even having to go to the overworld. But even though they added brewing stands, you still couldn't make stuff like pistons, observers, droppers, or dispensers using Blackstone. And some people thought, well, if you're doing like a Nether only survival, you can't even get access to stuff like redstone. You wouldn't be able to make some of these redstone components. But there's actually quite a few items that don't use redstone that can't be crafted. In the official bug report here, you can see down here Noah made a list of everything: the andesite, diorite, dispensers, droppers, levers, pistons, observers, brewing stands, which then later got fixed. But if we just take a look at the Blackstone, we see that something as simple as a lever can't be made. But the real surprise comes when you try to figure out why you can't use Blackstone for everything. Because this bug report here isn't actually considered a bug at all. It is marked as worked as intended, meaning the developers specifically didn't want to use Blackstone in crafting some of these blocks here. But why exactly? Now we can actually get some insight if we compare it to some past blocks that weren't given their full potential until later on, when smithing tables and fletching tables were introduced. This is way back in 1.14, and they go on to say that we've decided not to add the functionality for these blocks for this update, as we want to make sure that they are useful for the overall gameplay. We have a great idea for them for the next major themed update, ... So this was 1.14, and as we know in 1.16 they gave the smithing tables a use, which is turning your diamond armor into netherite armor. Now the fletching tables still haven't got their use yet. There is a lot of indication that these will be used to make like different fireworks or different arrow types, as both of them have a lot of variety, and the recipes are quite confusing. And the Mojang developers even confirm that this is intended, and that they purposely let out a couple different redstone devices, and they have indicated that this will not stay like this forever, meaning that these will be added into the game as a special Blackstone variation of them. And based on other things that Mojang has said revolving around TNT duping as well as movable talents, so essentially being able to move chests, is that these things will change in Java in the future. A lot of this has to do with the parity between Java and Bedrock. The Minecraft wiki actually has a whole page about things that are different between Bedrock and Java. And over the last few updates, they've been shrinking this list by quite a bit. Most of the changes were actually applied to Bedrock. Because Java is the older game, Bedrock is still playing catch up. One of the more recent examples is that in bartering, in the beginning Java could obtain netherite hose from bartering, but then it was removed, and Bedrock still had this in the official release, but they later changed this, so now they no longer have netherite hose, so they're just like the Java edition. But if we take a look at pistons, there is a lot of inconsistencies between Java and Bedrock, so much so that if they would change either the Java or the Bedrock pistons, it would create a big uprising among the communities. And this is where the Blackstone comes into play. They could easily come come in with pistons of 2 variations, one normal and one blackstone pistons, and give unique abilities to each of them. And the developers have said that they want to make the Java pistons similar to Bedrock, but quasi-connectivity plays a big role in Java now, so it makes sense that they would come in with a compromise. This difference also applies to like dispensers and droppers, which both have quasi-connectivity as well as many more functions. But one of the biggest difference between Java and Bedrock is that their pistons can push block entities, which are stuff like chest or any other block that contains items within them. And because the developers said that they would eventually add this into Java, it's just a matter of how they implement it. Having new piston would do this job. So it's easy to see that new piston could be very different than the current one. But how would a dispenser or dropper different if it was made out of blackstone? Well, pistons can move block entities. It means that developers have to decide what can be pushed by a piston and what cannot. Some people use like furnaces to stop pistons from pushing stuff because they don't want to obtain obsidian. Some people do the same thing but with droppers because they're a little bit more leg friendly. So rather than having to decide which blocks can and which blocks can't, they might just have 2 different types of dispensers for that reason alone. But what does this have to do with the removal of TNT duping or even sand generators? Now Mojang has said that they want to remove both those type of dupes in the game, which is understandable. But they only want to do this by kind of coming in with an alternative to do a similar thing. Now one of the benefits of a TNT duper is that it can actually fly on a flying machine. I have a wide variety of designs and even recently helped Dylan D with updating his UFO death cannon. Make sure you guys are subscribed so you don't miss out on that upcoming collab. Now if they would remove TNT duping, that means they would also remove the ability for us to easily have fly machines that drop TNT. An alternative way that they could do this is having their special movable dispensers that can fly with flying machines and dispense out TNT when activated. Now this fixes the flying TNT part but doesn't fix the duping part. Obviously they don't like dupes in the game, so they would just scrap that part and try to give something else in return to kind of make up for it. But there is a couple problems. Would hoppers be able to be moved as well? And if they aren't moved, then how in the world are you going to refill your dispenser with TNT? Now you might think that you can place like a rail on top and a hopper minecart, which in itself is a hopper on rails to just push the TNT into the dispenser. The hopper minecarts are actually a little bit strange. They don't push items into containers, but they only pick up items. So if you place like TNT there, they'll pick it up, but it won't actually push it into anything. You actually need another hopper to pull stuff out of a hopper minecart. And to me, this always seemed like a bug. And if they would fix this, then it would be possible to kind of avoid using a hopper and directly go from a hopper minecart into any other container. This change could fit in with the cave update as they most likely would redo minecarts. They're actually useful in transporting stuff around in your mine. Now the first one here can be rid by the player, but the next one is a container that holds stuff. This one is a furnace minecart, which doesn't really have much of a use since power rails come out, but they could give this one a new use. We also got the TNT one, which just blows up, and the hopper minecart, which is still lacking some uses. But there is actually some more minecarts in the game. These are creative ones. We got the command block minecart as well as a spawner minecart. And these are actually real things in vanilla. They also could come out with minecarts that have like droppers or dispensers inside them. And if they would go over top of like detective rails, then they could, or this would make sense inside of them. And maybe even repurposing the furnace minecart. Now when it comes to removing TNT dupers, it is part of the kind of same duping category. Here's my simple one, which I showed you guys a long time ago, and it still works in even the most recent version. But it's less about duping and it's more about trying to find an alternative way for people to get sand into their world. Now they conquered the whole gravel thing by adding bartering where you can get gravel from there. So let's say you want to make a lot of concrete, the other thing you need is a lot of sand. Now there is actually quite a bit of sand deep in the earth in real life, so it's possible that they add this down into some special caves because it might introduce like biome specific caves, so there might be strips of sand in those caves, but that still doesn't fix the whole like renewable thing. So most likely they would have to introduce a mob, and that could come into the cave update as they would probably introduce some new mobs that keep the caves nice and scary and prevent people from just easily strip mining in them. But it might actually be pushed off into a new update. So what do I make of all this? Well, when it comes to his official name Caves and Cliffs, when Connor was given this message, he said that he might even decide to take up their offer as being a co-host. Now this can't be true because it's way too close to the actual deadline of it, and Mojang works all this stuff out way ahead of time. And for a personality like XQC, he probably would never be approached by Minecraft about this type of thing, as they're usually looking for some uplifting and energetic people to help with co-hosting. But it is actually very promising that we'll see some new redstone components using the Blackstone. How they will be implemented in, we're not quite sure, but I'm pretty sure they're going to be looking to the community for ideas. So make sure you guys give feedback on everything that will be introduced in 1.17. I am live streaming the event right now, so you guys can join in. But don't forget to leave this video a like as well as share with others. I would like to thank you guys for watching. I'll see you guys in the next one. Bye-bye!